Live. So we are learning the Maimer Shuva Yisroel. It's a Vav Tishrei Maimer. The Vav Tishrei is in 2 days on Thursday. It was also Thursday the year that Deb said this Maimer, so it's the same Kriyas. But it really has Shkachel Pratis when I was looking for a Maimer, I found this Maimer. I had to find a short Maimer that we could learn in one go because we only have 1 day for this. And so, first of all, the Maimer is connected. The ideas in the Maimer are very connected to Kumiyoiri, to what we learned in the previous Maimer, that we learned the Chayel Maimer of Kumiyoiri. And this Maimer, once you learn this Maimer, you look on Aseh Simei Tshuva in a completely different way. I've never seen, it's the first time I see this idea of what we have going on in Aseh Simei Tshuva. And it's also a Maimer that talks very much about what happens down here in this world. It's the Rebbe Tzimchana's Yartzeit, and it's explained in many places in Chassidus that the imohis, the mothers, are dafka the ones who connect the Shechina mamish with the world. In other words, the kech, the ability to bring the Shechina down into this physical world, is something that's connected dafka to the imohis. I don't know if it's because of that or because of other reasons. This Maimer discusses very much what goes on down here in this Kashmistika world. So let's begin, and let's see a completely new word to me, at least, of something to live with in Aseh Simei Tshuva. And it's going to be fast-paced, so we can finish the whole Maimer in one shir. So let's begin. Shuva Yisroel adavai lekecha. It says in the pasuk that the Yidden should return to the Eibishter. The Yeduim hadiyukim bezen. In several Mamarim and Chassidus, they ask these questions. Mashakos of Shuva Yisroel dafke shushem hamaylos l'bnei Yisrael. We're saying that you have to do tshuva, that you have to repent for things that you did that were not good. So why over here do we call Yidden with the name Yisrael? It would have been more appropriate to call them with the name Yaakov, because the name Yisrael is the title that's given to Yidden that describes their greatness. Yaakov is the title that's given to Yidden that describes them in a lower, lesser state and condition. So why over here, when the Yidden have to do tshuva, obviously they're not in the right state that they should be, and nevertheless we call them Yisrael, which is the Shem HaMayla, which is the special name, the title of greatness of the Yidden. The second thing we have to understand, the pasuk says, return until the Eibishter. Why does it say return until the Eibishter? It's a strange lashon. Seemingly, it should have said return to the Eibishter, not return until the Eibishter. It's not the common way of speaking. These are well-known questions and discussed in many, many different places. And the answers that Rebbe gives in this Maimer over here are quite novel to me. So the Rebbe says he's going to explain it in short. It's a short Maimer. It says in the pasuk that the Eibishter placed the world in the heart of man. What's the pashta taich? Rashi teaches that the Eibishter placed the world in the heart of man, that in his heart or in his mind he can understand all of the wonders and all of the wisdom that's in the world. So the world is what's real, and the person understands what the world is. What's the taich of Pnimis and Yonim? In Pnimis Yonim, the taich is completely the opposite. Let's see how the Rebbe teiches it. That the Eibishter placed the world in our heart. In other words, he gave our heart control over the world. Like it says in the pasuk Bereishis, the word Bereishis. Bereishis hainu beis reishis, that the Eibishter created the world for two things. One of them being the Yidden, B'shvil Yisrael Shenikraim Reishis. So the Eibishter created the world for the Torah, and this Maimer emphasis on that the Eibishter created the world for Yidden. And since the world was created for Yidden, Lachein Kol Seder Hishtalshlus Tolui B'Avedasam. This is the first Yisod. The entire Seder Hishtalshlus, all of the Olam Yesulyanim, their behavior, their condition, what happens, the going on, the ins and outs of the entire Seder Hishtalshlus is given over to the control of Yidden. That's the first Yisod in this Maimer. Furthermore, not only the Seder Hishtalshlus, but even this physical world, even though this physical world is materialistic, or al kolpanim, it's physical. Materialistic is the chumri, is the lashon that's used when he tried to describe the coarseness of the world, the grubkeit of the world. Of al kolpanim, even if it's not grub, it's al kolpanim, it's physical, and you would think that something physical is unmovable. You can't change it. Something that's more spiritual, an idea, could be changed, could be moved. You could be poil, you could make differences, but it's all it's over there in the spiritual world. But in this physical world, reality is reality, and you can't change it. Im kol zeh, says the Rebbe, no. In a kol mitziyusei v'hanagosei, the entire existence and the entire behavior of the world, nitan b'libam shel b'nei Yisrael, was all given into the heart, was given, placed under the control of the heart of Yid. V'tolu b'avedasam, and it depends on how we serve the Eibishter. The things that happen in this physical world, the events of this physical world and the way things work out in our day, etc., is all dependent and is under our control, is dependent on the way we serve the Eibishter, and therefore is under our control. We could change it. Which is the parsha that was being read the week that David said this Maimer, is the same way as it is this year. It's every year. Anyways, Hazinu Hashemayim v'adabeira, that Moshe Rabbeinu tells the heavens that they should listen to what Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, and so to the earth should listen to what Moshe Rabbeinu is saying. Rashi explains, what does Moshe Rabbeinu mean with this? That Moshe Rabbeinu appointed the heavens and the earth as witnesses to ensure that the Yidden will fulfill Torah mitzvahs. Like it says in the pasuk, and what does that actually explain? In what way will the Edom serve? That if the Edom will fulfill Torah and mitzvahs, then the heavens will give rain, and the earth will grow its crops. And if they won't, will Chas V'Shalom be the opposite. So you see over here very clearly from Rashi that the things that happen in this world depend on how the Yidden behave. So the Yidden have control over the world. If you learn Rashi, you could have gotten the idea that we're at the mercy of heaven and earth. That Kivyachol, the heavens and earth will decide if they should give rain, and if the earth should give should grow the food that we need to grow out of the earth. That's the idea that you get when you read Rashi. But the Rebbe explains over here that in a deeper way that no, the heavens and earth are at our mercy. Then in the Sikh Yemis that they chose a few days ago, it says the Indian of Hazino Shamayim means that when a Yid talks, and the Yid has in him a specialist of the Moshe, when he talks as Moshe Rabbeinu, heavens and earth have no choice; they have to listen. To who could you say listen? Yeah, a teacher tells a student, listen to what I'm telling you. A parent tells a child, listen to what I'm telling you. When you're working with somebody who doesn't have to listen to you, can't tell him, listen to what I'm telling you. So Moshe Rabbeinu is telling the heavens and earth, listen to what I'm telling you. See, in other words, they have no choice. The Rebbe says that the entire world, the Rebbe says in the Sikha, even Malachim, everything can't make their own free choice. They have to do what the Eibishter tells them to do. And in this case, in Torah, it says, therefore, when the Yid says it, they have to listen. Only a Yid has B'chira Chavshis. So it's not pshat that we're at the mercy of Shemayim V'Aretz, but rather we are in control of what happens in Shemayim V'Aretz.
It's telling you that you do what you're supposed to, then you'll have control over heaven and earth. And you don't do, then they have control over you.
No, still not. They still don't have control over you.
Even if you don't do what you're supposed to.
You're forcing heaven and earth to not give rain and the crops.
Right.
You're forcing them.
It's only on Masenu.
Absolutely.
So that's what brings about that they should listen to you.
Or that they
and if you don't do what you're supposed to,
then they're also listening to you. They're also listening to you.
Right, but in the negative.
In the negative.
In the negative, yeah.
Yeah, you're not doing what you're supposed to. Listen in the negative. Move on. It's like a joystick. You're controlling it. Move on. Excuse me. Move on. Bnei Yisrael Moslim Al Shemayim V'Aretz Shal Yidei Avodasim Kedavai Poilim. That the Yidden are in control of heavens and earth and everything that's in it. In what way? That when we do our Avodah appropriately, then Shemayim V'Aretz will behave the way it's supposed to. And if Chas V'Shalom not, then it will be a different way. Like it says in another pasuk in then what will happen when together with all of the other brachas? So we see that we're in full control of what happens in this world and in the Eilam Yisraelim. In the second parsha of Kishma, we also say, if you listen to the Eibishter's mitzvahs until the so the entire conduct of the world will be in accordance with your fulfillment of the Torah and mitzvahs. And coming back to our Parsha of Hazinu, Alidei Yarif Kamoter Likhi, through this, that you pay attention to the words that I'm speaking, that Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, and Tizal Katalim Rasi, and my words will descend upon you like the dew, which Rashi teaches, which this has to do with Limud HaTorah, because Torah is like rain which brings bracha to the world. You bring about, you make it that it should happen, that there should be rain and dew literally, physically in this world. Now you could say that L'chorah, it hasn't been like that for so many years. L'chorah, you could say Hazino Shemaim is still talking about the time Shanim Ketikno, when things were in other words, when the Yidden were in Yerushalayim with the Beis Hamikdash and there was Malchus Yisroel, a matzav of not of Golus, matzav of Gula. That's when everything works this way. But in a matzav of Golus, because everything is hidden the way it's explained in so many places in Chassidus and Kabbalah, because there's a situation of sleep in the world, of slumber, Kivyachul, so things don't work the way they're supposed to. So what's the Rebbe over here saying? What the Rebbe over here saying is that we're getting closer to Mashiach, and things are starting now to behave differently. And now it's a time when we could actually control what happens in this world. If only we can connect to this Nakuda, that it's up to us, that it's in our hands, because we are living already in the times of Mashiach. And this is the Rebbe said this was in the run-up to it. So l'chura, we could already be pilots now, just the way it was when it was Shanim Ketikno, when the Yidden were not in Galus. It's my own thoughts about this, why the Rebbe is saying this. Okay, so this is the way it is. Why is it that way? So now the Rebbe is going to get into a few aces, a page and a half, l'chura, to explain to us why it's like this. And this is what's connected with the Maimah that we learned previously, Kumi Yoiri. According to what's explained in Chassidus in many places. The purpose for the entire creation of Seder Ishtalshus, including this world. Like the Medrash says, that the Eibster had a taiva, the Eibster had a desire that he should have a place to live over here, Dafka, in this physical world. And what's the depth of this idea? In short, just like when somebody lives in his home. He finds himself over there with his true essence. In other words, when somebody is in shul, he has to put on a certain image. When somebody is at work, he can't just be himself completely. He has to place himself into a certain seer, into a certain form, into a certain definition, due to the expectations of people around him. He can't just lounge as he would comfortably in his house. He has to be a little bit dignified, a little bit respectable, or other things where he has to limit himself the way he is. Typically, when somebody's walking down the street, he doesn't just break out in song. When a person is at home, he might just break out in song. A person lets himself be completely who he is without holding back at all when he's in his own home. Because over there, he can allow his essence to be. When he's outside, when he's not in his home, he has to hide it and control it. So there's the Lamalik of Yachol, Shtach, Sakavanu Shti, Am Shach Satzmus Lamata. Nisava Kachbarach Lisla Svirtir B'Tachtena means that the Eibishter wants that Atzmus, the essence of the Eibishter, should be present, Dafka, over here in this world, in this physical world. And that's why we use the term Nisava, because Shuinyan Shal Taiva, this is an idea of a Taiva that has to do with Atzmus. You can't ask questions on it. Why? Because it doesn't come from Seichel, where over there you could ask questions. Or to give any reasons for it, because this taiva comes from the essence of the Eibishter, and that's what the nature of the taiva is, that the essence of the Eibishter should be in this world. And that's already connected to the days of Shuva, the idea of Tkiyah Sheif, you reach to the essence of the Tainuk. Say Yisroel. Oh, the Atzmus of the Eibishter, that's where the Yidden come from. So the world was created, why? For which purpose? So that the Atzmus could be revealed in this world. The Yidden, their Sheidish, where do they come from? They come from the Atzmus of the Eibishter, like we learned Baruch in the previous Maimon. So here, the way this Maimon built to Mug, it's a little confusing to me the way it was written. About Kopanim, the Nakuda is very clear. Therefore, the Yidden are given the title Reishis Shem L'mayla Mikol Seder Ishtalshus, because they're higher than the entire Seder Ishtalshus. And in truth, They're even higher than this level of ratios. I feel we madregas ratios. The level of ratios that's actually not l'mayla miseder shtal. So that's actually the way the Yidden are already within seder shtal. So then you could give them a term. You could say they're the beginning. That's already a part of definition of tzir, of form, of shape. That already is the inyan of shtalshus. However, the initial source of the Yidden is even higher than that, which when you get to this initial source of the Yidden, it says Yivchar Lanu, the lashon of Bechira, the Eibishter's choice is going Yaakov Shreib Sel. The Eibishter chose the Yidden, and like we learned in Kumiyah, this goes primarily on the Guf of Yid. Shemeshrashim Ba'atzmos, the Yidden are rooted in the essence of the Eibishter, and Atzmos Shemimenu Davke Hu Inim Bechira Chavshis. Because over there is where you have the idea of Bechira, and that's why Yivchar Lanu shows us, indicates to us that the Yidden are rooted in Atzmos. Believe Shemtamim Vasparis. Okay, so we have in the first place, we have like this. We have that the entire world is under the control of the Yidden. What happens in the world, the way the world conducts itself is all in accordance with the Yidden. The second place we have, we're beginning to explain why. Because the world was created, including Seder Ishtalshalus, right? Typically we think Seder Ishtalshalus is high. And it's a little trickle down, the leftovers of Seder Ishtalshalus are over here. The Shmonim of the Malachim, of the Ifanim. The Emes is not like that. The Pnimius, the whole Seder Shtalshalus is here for what? So that there could be this Elam Hazagash, like the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya. About Kopanim. So the entire Seder Shtalshalus on this physical world is under our control. Why? Because what's the reason that Seder Shtalshalus exists? What's the reason that Elam Hazah exists? Because this Avakash Baruch Hu Yisrael Baruch Dira B'Tachteinim, right? And the Yidden, and this Taiva comes from the Eibishter's Atzmos, and Yidden come from the Eibishter's Atzmos. So we're beginning to see over here already a connection, how the Yidden stand above Seder Ishtalshalus. They stand already from Atzmos, and therefore they can control what goes on in this world. Deborah will explain it in more detail soon. So let's go on to the third paragraph. What's the Aveda of Rosh Hashanah? And so to the entire Sesame Tshuva. This is the third point of the Maimon. What's the Aveda of Sesame Tshuva? To reveal the Pnimius and the root of the Neshama. Not the external levels of the Neshama, but the essence of the Neshama. In other words, to reveal this part of the Neshama as it is rooted in Atzmos. To reveal the part of the neshama that's connected to the atzmos of the Eibishter. Therefore, as a preparation to Rosh Hashanah, we start saying that the whole Aveda of Elul is, and leading up to Rosh Hashanah, is to reach this madrega of Pnimius. To reveal the Pnimius level and Pnimius Haneshama. In other words, that part of the Yid that's rooted in the atzmos of the Eibishter, which this is always pristine and pure and whole by every single Yid, that it should shine in a revealed way. So we need to take that, which is typically hidden, and make it revealed. So the Aveda of Aseret Tshuva, first of all, is what? Starting to have a new word. That we should be megala, the shadish of the neshama as it is mushash and atzmos. This is the Aveda of Aseret Tshuva. If this is the Aveda of Aseret Tshuva, so it has a whole other feel to it. And as Deborah will say at the end of the paragraph, and even more so on Rosh Hashanah, in other words, after Elul, when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, which through the Shefer we reveal the most inner voice and cry of the soul that cannot be expressed in any way. Since the Shefer brings out this innermost part of the soul, so therefore it also can bring out the good, even on people who are sleeping and even in a deep sleep. And this is why we find that Aseret Tshuva is a time of simcha. It's a time of joy. Aseret Tshuva is a time of joy. It's not a chiddush of the Rebbe. Like it says in Siddur Arizal, the days between Rosh Hashanah and Kippurim are similar to Chol HaMoed. I don't know if the Arizal says explicitly, therefore you should be happy. But upon him, if the Arizal is saying it's Chol HaMoed, it's a word of simcha. So what's the word of Aseret Tshuva? It's a time of joy. Why is it a time of joy? Because we're revealing the deepest and most truest part of a Yid. My truth, my genuine truth is coming out. No more of the falsehood and the stresses and the strains of the conflicts of the outside. My truth is coming out. And that's a tremendous part of joy. Are you gonna ask me? It says it says in Kisva Arizal, whoever does not cry in Asesi Meitshuva, I can't remember that Arizal says something very terrible, something like there's something wrong with his neshama. So you're supposed to cry in Asesi Meitshuva. So listen to this. Hakavan lebchia shel simcha. These are tears of joy that you're supposed to be crying in Asesi Meitshuva. So for 500 years we've been misunderstanding. Not for 500 years, the Baal Shem Tov already explained it, but we didn't learn it. I didn't learn it. Al Kopanim, it's tears of joy. That's what the Arizal was talking about. Why tears of joy? You can tell me this is a chiddush. Why are you going wild over here? The says no, it's a Beferish Nehemiah, Beferish Novi, and I'll read the pasuk from the inside, a beautiful pasuk. The Yemen Nehemiah says to the Yidden, Hu Tirsasa. Nehemiah was titled Tirsasa. I'm not familiar with it. The Ezra HaKain HaSefer, and Ezra the Kain, the scribe, the Levim HaMevinim Sa'am, and the Levim who understood the nation. I'm not sure what that means. About Kopanim, they said to the entire Jewish nation, Hayayim Kadesh Ula Hashem Elokeichem. This day of Rosh Hashanah is a holy day for the Eibishter. Al tis'ablu v'al tivku. Don't mourn and don't cry. Why were they mourning and crying? When Nehemiah and Ezra Sefer and the Levim told the Yidden what it says in Torah, and they realized, my goodness, we are not doing what it says in Torah, they started crying. So what does Nehemiah tell them? And Ezra, don't mourn and do not cry. What should you do? He said to them, this is already a more famous pasuk. Eat fatty foods, and drink sweetness. And send out foods to people who don't have. It's a holy day. Are you feeling like you want to be sad? You have a Vedas. You just heard the whole Torah and you found out not good, not a good matzah. What should you do? Do not be sad. Joy, rejoicing in Hashem, that is your strength. That is your power. With that, you will do whatever you have to do. So this is already a Navi. Huh? It's not a far. We already see if it could be Rosh Hashanah, which is one of the more severe days. It's Yom Hadin. It's Yom Hadin. L'chorim Kippur, you have to dance. Taka, we dance. Napoleon's March, we dance. Let's see. So this is Asesi Meitshuva includes the entire from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. The Rebbe is also talking about Yom Kippur. The pasuk maybe is talking about Rosh Hashanah, but the Rebbe learns from that it's actually it shows the same idea applies to the entire Asesi Meitshuva. I'll talk to Rebbe in the next debate. The same way it is in Rosh Hashanah. This was a good observation you made. So too in the days that follow it. Also explains what's this idea of crying in Asesi Meitshuva. This is similar to what it said when he was able to grasp the secrets of the Torah that are hidden in the Shir Hashirim. His eyes were running with tears. Why was he crying? Why were tears coming out? Because when he was reading Shir Hashirim, he grasped these deep secrets, the deepest secrets of the Torah, and that brought about crying. In other words, a great revelation brings about crying. Because it's overwhelming. The overwhelming of the revelation brings out the crying, the tears. It's from the great revelation of the Yid's true core, his essence, his true identity, my real. I'm struggling for a word over here, but what I really am becomes revealed, and that is such an overwhelming experience, and therefore I cry for joy. So it's tears of joy. So the third ice tells us that what's the Aveda of Asesi Meitshuva? The Aveda of Asesi Meitshuva is to reveal the Yid's essence, which is that he's rooted in the essence of the Eibishter. So we bring about the initial source, the Sheirish Rishon of Yidden, and that's why it's all about Simcha. That's why it's all about Simcha. And now finally the Rebbe ties it all back together. Since Naseis, you made Shuva, what do? We cause that the Eibishter's Bechira in the Yidden, in other words, that we are rooted in his essence, should be revealed in our behavior because we're happy. And in other ways that we reveal it in our behavior in this world during the days of Aseret Mitzvah. So now our source is in a revealed way in this world. And therefore, therefore we also can rule over the heavens and earth, the spiritual heavens and earth. That it is a law for the Yidden. However, it also goes on revealing a likus in this physical world. That the day of Rosh Hashanah is a day of judgment. What's the judgment on? What's the decision being made? How much a likus should be brought down and drawn down into this world? And the Yidden are the ones who are in charge of this. Which this is in regards to Shemaim Baretz Elyonim. How much more so Shemaim Baretz Tachtonim, if we are in charge and in control over the greater worlds, how much more so that we are in charge over the lower worlds, over the lesser worlds, over the physical world. As the literal meaning of the pasuk that we mentioned, that we brought earlier, of Azino Shemaim V'Sishma Haaretz v'Kol Zeh Nasim V'Techshira Beifen Shel Simcha. And all of this is done in a way of song, which is in a way of happiness. That the Yid is in control of this world is part of the Shira of Hazinu. Shira is joyous. They name him Shira El Alayain. Song is recited only with wine. Which wine is joy and revealed joy. And based on all this, the Rebbe explains the pasuk Shuva Yisroel Adavai Lekecha in a completely new way. We're talking about the Yidden Shu Shem Shmeira Al Gili. The Yidden is the way he stands in a revealed way, connected to the essence of the Eibishter. We're not talking about a Yid who's a sinner. We're talking about a Yid who's standing at the highest level. Because in Aseret Mitzvah, he's already after the Avodah of Rosh Hashanah. The Yidden had already fulfilled the Eibishter's request that we should say the psukim of Malchus in order that we should crown the Eibishter upon us. And after Rosh Hashanah, the Eibishter accepted our request and our coronation, and now he became king over us. And because the Eibishter is our king, and through this even more so reveals the level of Yisroel within every single Yid. And now the truth of the Yid is revealed in this world, and his connection to Atzmus, and that he comes from Atzmus. And afterwards, after the Yid brings this about within his personal self, within his Peiches Pnimiyim, internally, then he starts working with the whole world around him. That he returns the entire world to the Eibishter. And what is it? In what level are we talking about? He reaches the level of Ad. That this is the level of Ad which cannot be put in this place in the same category as all the other levels, because it's talking about the Kayal Pnimis Shalamaila. It's talking about the Pnimis by the Eibishter Kivyachal Ad Atzmus Umuhus. We're talking about the essence of the Eibishter himself. So we're saying that the Yid, through this, that he reveals his connection to the essence of the Eibishter, he brings himself and the entire world to the essence of the Eibishter, connects the entire world with the essence of the Eibishter. In other words, makes a Didulei Yisbarach B'Tachtenim. Through the Avodah of a Yid drawing out his Pnimiyus, we bring out the Pnimiyus of the Eibishter, we bring out the Atzmus of the Eibishter. We reach the Madrega of Ad V'Le'ad B'Chlal, in other words, the Madrega of Atzmus. And therefore, he says Adavai Lekecha, and he uses the word of Lekecha, since we're drawing down the level that's higher than Shem Havaya, and even higher than that, Atzmus Umuhus itself, in Shem Havaya Nasrak Lekecha, compared to this level, Havaya is merely a Lekecha, is rather a lower Madrega. Typically, Havaya is the higher Madrega. But when you're talking about Atzmus, Havaya is the lower Madrega. Compared to Atzmos, Shem Havaya is already a garment and something that, and a sack that covers over Atzmos. And once you reach this level in El Dezapoilim, Shagamas Denis, you have Chlizachias. And through reaching this level, you bring about that even the sins are turned into merits. In other words, the Avedas are turned into mitzvahs. So the Yid could say, in other words, what do you want from me? The Eibishter gave me one time a year, and I said to made tshuva, to do tshuva. I know that not everything is the way it should be. Yodin is benafshe. We don't have to focus on it too much, but at least once a year, let me gain forgiveness from the Eibishter. How? Let me feel bad. Let me regret what I did. The Rebbe doesn't let. The Rebbe says to make tshuva is also in of simcha. Asayis Tshuva is not about regretting. Asayis Tshuva is about bringing out your inner truth, your essence, the way you're connected to the Eibishter's essence. So what's going to be with my Avedas? So the Rebbe says, don't worry. When you bring out your essence, Bakshu Panay, and then it's Panecha Vayabakesh, this brings out the essence of the Eibishter. When you bring down the essence of the Eibishter, this itself will already, the essence of the Eibishter transforms all no good into good. In the face of the essence of a Yid, and in the face of the essence of the Eibishter, all Avedas just melt away. And not only that they melt away, they become part of mitzvahs. They become mitzvahs themselves. So we have another option, another path that we could take, which is through simcha, to bring about forgiveness and a change in our state. So the main focus, the main point of the fifth days is that through revealing our pnimis, we reveal the Eibishter's pnimis in the world, and this causes the Avedas to turn into mitzvahs, and this is all, of course, a joyous affair, because when my truth is revealed, I'm very happy. When the Eibishter's truth is revealed, I'm very happy. So it's a happy occasion. And the pasuk finishes. It's the continuation of Shuva Yisroel. Take with you words v'shuva and return to the Eibishter and our words will stand in place of the karbanos that we would have been able to be makriv on the mizbech. The Aveda at the end of Galus, which we do in the which our Aveda now, whichever way, through davening and all the other things that we do now. That is going to bring us shleimus in parim. That is going to bring us to actually bring the actual parim, the actual karbanis on the mizbeach. The way it is, literally the way we're supposed to do it, which will be rebuilt through Mashiach Tzidkenu. Mashiach will fight the wars of the Eibishter, and he will be victorious. And he will build the Beis Hamikdash in its place. And he will gather in all of the exiles of the Yidden. And he will bring about in the entire world that the Eibishter will be revealed. The glory of the Eibishter will be revealed in a way that our physical eyes could see it, and not only the physical eyes of human beings, the physical matter of the world itself will be filled of the Eibishter, just like water covers the ocean. And what is the introduction? And what is the preparation to bring this in a quick way and to make it very near? This is the Aveda that they were described in this Maimer of Shuva Yisrael at the end of Golus, which we do now. When we draw it down into this physical world all the way down, until the fulfillment of the prophecy that the Eibishter will lead us upright, standing, in other words, whole and strong and complete. And not only that, is a double lashon, like the two heights of Adam Rishon. In other words, we'll have it. What is the two? We'll have time that doesn't get into this at all over here, so we'll just leave it. And then from Aseret Shuva we come to Yom Kippurim, Shahu Inyan Yom Echad, which this is already a higher Inyan. It's already not a Sar, it's Inyan of Yom Echad. Kedis of Medrash, as it's written in Medrash. Of Yom Kippurim Kol Echad Bech Misol Lamato Bedugmas Malach and Shar. Every single year down here in this world is like a Malach. And this becomes a good and close and immediate preparation to the joy of Sukkot. You should be rejoiced before the Eibishter, the Ksiv Chag HaSukkos, which is written regarding Chag HaSukkos, Kedisa b'Yalkut, like it says in Yalkut Shmeini. The Chag HaSukkos never Gimmel Pamim Simcha. In Sukkot it says 3 times Simcha. That obviously means something over here, but I'm not sure what that was referring to with the 3 joys. And this will all bring us to fulfill the Peil Mamish, the joy that we will have, the rejoicing that we will have before the Eivish and the Beis Hamikdash Ashlishi, in the 3rd Beis Hamikdash. Yibana b'mheira v'yameinu b'simcha v'tuv leva. May it be built speedily in our days and in a happy way and in a good-hearted way. So what do we have from this Maimer? We have that everything a Yid has to know. We're living in different times. Everything that happens in this world is under our control. The world does not control us. The world can never stop us from fulfilling Torah and mitzvahs, not by direct means. In other words, not by directly challenging us in our Torah and mitzvahs. We can overcome it. And not also by indirect means, by giving us other struggles and challenges that indirectly prevent us from doing Torah and mitzvahs. We can overcome it. We can be fully in control. And the Yid will have everything that he needs, begashmis u'beruchnis, in this world, because he connects himself to Hazino Shemaim v'Daber v'Sishmar. He connects himself to Torah and mitzvahs. And they've explained why. Because the entire world was created for the Yidden. And the world was created that the Atzmos should be revealed in this world. And the Yid just has to tap into that. He just has to bring out his connection to Atzmos. And once he brings out his connection to Atzmos, so the world must follow what he wants, because the world was created for this Avokat Shpach, and the Yid is connected to this Atzmos. The Yid is rooted in this Atzmos, so he stands above and controls what happens in this world. And this, of course, is a very joyous type of a thing. So that's the idea of Aseret Yemei Tshuva. The idea of Aseret Yemei Tshuva is to reveal these ideas, these truths of the truth of the world, that it's for the essence of the Eibishter, and the truth of the Yid, that he comes from the essence of the Eibishter. So it's a time of joy when this becomes revealed, because that's my truth. And I'm very happy when it becomes revealed. And through doing this Aveda in a joyous way, we bring about a complete kapara, a complete forgiveness for any Avedas, to such a degree that the Avedas themselves become mitzvahs. And not only that, we bring about that we should have the revelation of Mashiach Tzidkenu down here in this world. And it continues from Aseret Yemei Tshuva on through Yom Kippur. It's the same idea that it says is Yom Kippur, just on a higher level. It's the idea of Yom Echad. And that leads us to Sukkot, which is interesting, the way the Rebbe makes Rosh Hashanah and Aseret Yemei Tshuva and Yom Kippur a lead up to Sukkot. So if you ever had the feeling that, that from Elul already, we're just leading up to Sukkot. And of course, within Sukkot, we're just leading up to Simchas Torah. So you could support yourself a little bit l'chura from the way the Rebbe puts it in this Maimer, that it's one progression from one place to an end goal, with the end goal being Sukkot, the joy of Sukkot. So and that will lead us to the joy of the Gula HaMitzvah Hashlema. So we should have a tshuva mitech simcha. We should be freilich Yidden, and the Eibishter should place this world, the gashmis of this world, under our control the way it's supposed to be. In other words, that every Yid should have everything they need in their simple, down-to-earth, real life down here in this world, for whatever short moments we are before Mashiach comes. The Gashmis u'beruchnius, and we should see the Rebbe with Mashiach Tzidkenu immediately.